bigger than just you pushing submit. Like, it literally is your stamp in this world.
Yeah.
And, you know, no one can duplicate that, and no one can change it, and no one can make it their own. Like, it is your own thing that's virtual and lasting. And
it really is lasting.
As long as we have electricity, right?
This has made me so nervous now that you've said all. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, I don't want to podcast
oh my gosh.
anymore.
We are making a record of all our thoughts.
And it sucks because what if what we say has nothing to do with what actually happens eventually in the future, and then people can pull that back and be like, remember you said blah blah blah.
Who cares?
And I would be like, oh my god, you downloaded?
Yes,
like
you were one of those 4,000
subscribed.
Yes, thank you for all that. We are so crazy.
So anyways, I digress. This has just been a great year, and I really do look forward to another year. And there's so many things that have come from Sweet Tea and Sunshine that we never knew was going to happen. And going into business with you, which that wasn't a plan in the beginning.
Right. Because it's like, we don't want to do business.
We just want
to have fun. And it just kept evolving. And we just kept getting more ideas.
Right.
And we just kept doing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Let's just try to do a live. Okay. And Lord, these husbands of ours, we can't leave them out.
Oh my gosh.
Just go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah, that was dead, doctor.
I'm
not giving no advice until I see something there.
Some tickets. We were like, oh. So you ain't gonna talk to us no more?
I was so
Say no more.
blessed when he actually graced us with his knowledge.
He was holding back for a while.
He was, and I could tell. Mm-hmm. And so now he's finally like, okay, they actually are serious about what they're doing. Yes. And this is like a real thing, and there's money involved. So so that part is kind of cool. Also, like, just the idea that we can transfer, and this is for the educators out there, that we can actually use what we have and turn it into something that the world outside of education can understand. Like,
our skill set is off the chain as educators, and we have allowed society, culture to, what word am I trying to use?
Wall
us. Yeah, and they just minimize our skill set.
Devalue.
That's what I was looking for.
Because that was my word of the year. Like, I never told you about the woman that told me that I have devalue written all over me.
What the?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to hear this, because I might try to go fight that heifer.
It was real. It was real. And it was at a place and a time where I was feeling that all over me. And then that was the point where I was like, all right, let me just step out of that and like see what value I do have. Oh. And that was when like I started enjoying teaching again. And that was when, and this was all while we've been doing this podcast. Like, you
did not tell me about her.
Yes, enjoying teaching again, being in the moment, living my best, whatever it is, and like actually like making myself, seeing myself more than just a lowly teacher or just a, you know.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
That's something I think that is probably more prevalent than people want to admit.
Oh, definitely.
And that changed everything about my classroom. I think that's why I really enjoy and love my kids way more, because I have to focus on them and not focus on the, oh God, here we go again. Like,
right.
So, I mean, not to go into teacher talk like that, but I
don't care what career you're in, though.
Yeah.
Because if you're devaluing yourself and you're allowing people to devalue your position or what you
what you are,
right?
Yeah.
Then it doesn't have to be just the teaching. Yes, teachers are publicly devalued often, unfortunately.
And did you? In this last year, because it was a lawyer who told me this, and she was saying she wished that she was a teacher, and so she was trying to tell me like the amount of value that she had, that she saw in teachers, and the devalue that she felt herself in being a lawyer. And since then, there's been so many lawyers that I've met who devalue what they do. So it's not even about making money. Like, it's not one of those things. It's like it's a position thing, and it's happiness in where you are.
That's right. And it's still what you see when you look in the mirror.
Yep.
At the end of the day, the confidence that you have in what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Why you're doing it. For me, that's what it was why am I doing it? Am I really am I getting fulfilled in the way that I thought I was going to be fulfilled?
Right. And sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, you don't even have to go to the extreme of having a complete career change. Let's be clear.
That's what I was struggling with. 4 years of me, like, I'm trying to get out of this. Like, I'm not.
I remember you
more.
saying
I'm
that.
done. I'm done. And it wasn't even that. It was just the fact that I could not find any value in what I was doing.
Wow, that's deep. It could just be a matter of you need to change your school, or you need to change a grade level, or
change your mind.
Change your mind. Yeah, without even changing physically where you're going.
Change your perspective on what you're doing and like what you're putting power into.
That's right.
That was for me. That was like, why am I so focused on all these deadlines? Like, let me.
No, you're absolutely right.
And let me be present in what it is that I'm like. I know I'm obsessed with teenagers. That's why I'm teaching high school kids. So why can't I get involved in that? Like,
that's big, yeah.
And I understand, the implications of not returning an email or whatever. But in the grand scheme of it all, if I get fired for not returning an email, then that's probably fine, and I can collect my check. Oh,
yeah, your unemployment check.
I don't know.
But the reality is, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So if you're focusing on, like I just told my principal the other day, I said, these teachers can say what they want to me. They can buck me. They can do whatever they want to do.
Right.
Do right by those kids. At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with you.
Right.
So if you're focused, and that is so deep. So if you devalue your position, you devalue what you're doing. Now I see why you devalue my students.
Yep.
Because I got a problem with that.
Right.
If you don't think what you're doing is important, you're going to treat folks any kind of way around you.
Or what you're saying is, like, there's that whole conversation of, we don't even get to teach anymore. All I want to do is teach. Then teach.
Do that.
And that was what I had to get to, because I was focusing on checking off the things that weren't involved in teaching and making sure the blog was updated and making sure that everyone had and I was covering, and the kids had, the security thing was in, like, all the other details besides the stuff that I was like, I wish I could just. And so I'm like,
whatever that
focus on the, I wish I could just.
Whatever you fill that blank in with, do it.
Right.
Because one girl out here, we just don't have fun. There's no fun in schooling. Why?
So do that.
Why is it not? Like, who told you not to do it? Who told you not to fight with all your heart for that client?
And I can say, like, the principal that I have has lended so much freedom to the teachers to be able to take a hold of that. Like, I feel like if I hadn't had the principal that I have now, loved all my other principals, but if I hadn't had the principal I had now, who's not so focused on all the little details and is just focused on class engagement, to me, I was like, oh, you want us to do teaching? Like, okay, like, I can do that. And he's not checking on us. I literally my students could have found the cure for cancer in the room, and he wouldn't know it. Which for me, I'm going to do what's right all the time. So it's like, okay, everything is on the up.
What do y'all think? And what do you think about, because I've been trying to figure this out. Because I was like you. I would never check in for my principal and where he was and what he was doing and what kind of meetings he was in and whether or not he came by my classroom and whether or not he walked our hallway. I'm
excited when he comes in. I'm like, hey, oh my gosh.
I never cared.
Right.
I mean, maybe I was wrong, because as an assistant principal, what I'm noticing is a lot of teachers are super concerned about what we're doing in our day.
Why?
I don't know.
And I think I talked about this, how we celebrate how our administrator leaves out like 3:45. We're like, girl, you gotta go. Girl, what else? What you gotta do here for?
But I'm talking about during the day. Like, they know when I have a meeting without me knowing. They're like, don't you have a meeting at 11?
How do they know?
I'm like, oh, thank you.
Is it on
I just know. No, I just know because so-and-so said she had a meeting, and so I figured you had to be in it.
Girl, I don't have time.
Who does? So if you had time to keep up with your, Like, I just don't know of people keeping up with it. Like, the secretaries, they need to know where we are and what we're doing. But if you are in a classroom...
But I don't need to know where the secretary is either.
No.
So they might need to know where I am because that's a security thing. But, like, me knowing... Girl, I might be the wrong person to ask. Because at my school, we focus on straight autonomy. Like, and it has been a bit of a relief because I feel like if we have the power to do whatever we want to do in our, when I say building, I mean our, like, department, not the whole school. If we have the power to be like, we're about to do this here in this here building, and I don't know what they're doing over there in Betty Gray, but as far as the 300 hall and the 400 hall, this is what goes. And he's like, cool, y'all doing that over there? Great. I'm fine. Like, he don't ever have to come over and check on me.
Do you feel like some groups, because I just could not imagine this being y'all, but do you feel like if there's a group that has that autonomy and then they're used to people leaving them alone, do you feel like they become
complacent,
almost defiant, because it's like, oh no, we do this over here, I don't know what you talking about.
Yeah. And I feel like the ease and I can only speak for what I know. And I feel like, you know, science and math teachers are very by the book or logical about stuff. So we're not about to do a whole bunch of just craziness just because it's like they said show up for your job at 7:45, be there. You know what I mean? Like, we just do it because that's what you're supposed to do. But I know that there are people in the building who don't. I can't worry about them. And I guess whoever's in charge of them can worry about them. When you start messing up this is one thing that I can say, and this is straight up teacher talk. There was a teacher who never showed up for her duty, and it was in our building, outside of my hall, my door, and it really wrecked the entire hallway because she wasn't doing her duty. So then you got kids outside cussing, doing whatever, dancing and music. So I have to be pulled out of my room to regulate them. Our whole hall is basically doing what you were supposed to be doing every single day. So then it's like, I'm still, a year later, I'm still looking at you because I had to do triple the work because you didn't show up for what you needed to do in the morning.
Did she ever get called out?
She's been called out in other ways. And that's the one thing, too, that I heard was like, somebody who's up to no good is always going to reveal themselves. So it's not only up to me to say, oh, I'm the whistleblower. They aren't doing what they, and this is like for relationships too. If you find out somebody's man is not doing what they're supposed to do, trust me, it'll show up in some other way besides me telling you that this is what I saw.
If you ever see Seth, don't tell me.
Girl.
I'm fighting you.
If I see that doctor and don't tell him myself, like, you
look at my eyeball.
That's the second round.
Okay.
It'll be round one between me and him first.
Okay, just so we're clear.
But what I'm saying is,
the reality is,
if somebody ain't up to no good,
it's gonna come out.
You're like, right. Clearly.
This is true.
So, like,
this is true.
Hey girl, I did all that stuff for you, but your kids don't like you.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So it's like, no wonder they don't like you because you don't show up for duty. So
if you ain't doing something that's visible to everybody, I know you ain't doing right in the classroom.
Right.
Let's be honest.
That's so true, right? Yeah. Right? Okay, so
I love that though. So
girl,
moral of the story is, it's gonna have to be. Moral of the story is, do not devalue yourself, or your position. And if you find yourself doing that, you got to take a step back and realize what made you start. Mm-hmm. And I love what you said about, I wish I was just. Yeah. Whatever that blank is, that's what you need to start doing. Mm-hmm. And then if you really still aren't happy after after you start doing what the blank is feeling, it means you're lying to yourself.
What the blank. Yeah, and I just want to teach the kids, but then you hate them.
Right.
Like them, what are you focusing on? I wish I was just blogging. Well, then do that part and don't teach.
Right.
Just
seriously. For real, y'all. And I know people say this as a cliche, but you really do have people's children's lives in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything I do, I try to approach it in the way of how would I want New